All right, this is part C of the chapter 3 slides. Let's go ahead and get this in slideshow view. And we're going to cover the cell and the components of the cell. So this, I hope this is review for most of you, the cell organelles. Cytoplasm refers to all the material between the plasma membrane and the nucleus. So the nucleus is not included in the cytoplasm, but everything else is. The fluid-filled area called cytosol, and then inclusions and organelles. All of these are components of the cytoplasm. So it's the fluid and everything that kind of floats around in the fluid. Cytosol is the gel-like solution in the cytoplasm. It does have its water, but it does have proteins, salts, and sugars dissolved in it. And then you have inclusions, which are insoluble molecules, maybe like fat droplets, pigments, and things like that. And then you have organelles, which would be like the ribosomes and the mitochondria, the lysosomes, the endoplasmic reticulum. They're like little organs inside the cell, and those we're gonna learn about those. The ones that have a membrane around them, and that membrane would be like the membranes of the transport vesicles that we saw that carried out endocytosis and exocytosis. That membrane is made up of a phospholipid bilayer, just like the plasma membrane. So ones that have membranes around them are the mitochondria, which actually has a double membrane, endoplasmic reticulum, which can be rough or smooth. We tend to say rough ER and smooth ER. And we have the Golgi apparatus, the peroxisomes, and the lysosomes. Both of these contain digestive enzymes, but they digest different things. Then we have some organelles that are not surrounded by membranes, and that would be ribosomes, components of the cytoskeleton, which are filaments or fibers, and centrioles. The first organelle that we will talk about is the mitochondria, which is a lot of times you may have learned this. It's the powerhouse of the cell, because this is where glucose and carbohydrates are converted. Most of the time it's a carbohydrate, is converted into energy in the form of ATP. There we go. All right, so mitochondria do require oxygen and usually glucose or a substitute for that they can break down. Mitochondria are enclosed by double membranes, and the inner membrane is folded, and we call those folds cristae. The mitochondria contain their own DNA, RNA, and ribosomes. They resemble bacteria. And this is what a mitochondrion looks like. You can see the outer membrane, and then it's cut open so that you can see the folded inner membrane and the cristae. Ribosomes are not surrounded by a membrane, but they do carry out protein synthesis, and they are composed of ribosomal RNA and protein. You can find ribosomes free floating, or you can find them bound to the ER, and we call that the rough ER. But anywhere you find them, ribosomes make proteins. The endoplasmic reticulum can be rough ER or smooth ER. The rough ER is attached to the nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. So you can see here this purple structure is the nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope, and it is attached to the rough ER, which is a system of channels. The rough ER has ribosomes attached to it, so its main function is synthesizing proteins and modifying proteins. Then you have the smooth ER attached to that, and it does not have ribosomes, so it mainly is going to synthesize carbohydrates and lipids. The rough ER says is the site of the synthesis of proteins, because it does contain ribosomes. It has ribosomes attached. It's the site of the synthesis of many plasma membrane proteins and phospholipids. So phospholipids would be the exception. You would think they would be synthesized in the smooth ER, but they're actually synthesized in the rough ER. Smooth ER does synthesize most lipids, though. And the final protein or the final product of the rough ER is most of the time enclosed in a vesicle and sent to the Golgi apparatus. So it's a process of producing, like a factory producing a product, starting in the rough ER and then ending up in the Golgi apparatus where it's packaged. Now the smooth ER does not contain ribosomes, so it doesn't synthesize proteins, but it does function in lipid metabolism, cholesterol, and steroid-based hormone synthesis, and making the lipids for lipoproteins, which are proteins with lipid attached. The smooth ER is the site for absorbing, synthesizing, and transporting fats or lipids, detoxifying certain chemicals like drugs, converting glycogen to glucose, breaking glycogen down because glycogen is chains of glucose, and then storing and releasing calcium. Particularly this happens in muscle cells where the smooth ER is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum instead of endoplasmic, but it's still endoplasmic reticulum. It just has a special name in muscle cells. And that sarcoplasmic reticulum stores calcium because calcium is needed to kind of kickstart a muscle contraction. So the smooth ER does a lot. Just try to associate smooth ER with lipids, okay? Because it's mostly what it does. Okay, then the Golgi apparatus is job is to modify and package proteins and lipids received from the rough ER, so like the proteins and the phospholipids received from the rough ER. There are 3 steps involved. Step 1, transport vesicles form from the ER, fuse with the interface of the Golgi apparatus, and then the proteins or lipids are taken inside, further modified, and they're tagged, sorted, and packaged. And this is like a factory type system. And they're packaged into transport vesicles, and they pinch off from the Golgi. And you can see this how this happens here in this image. So you have the rough ER pinches off a vesicle that contains its product. So here's the transport vesicle from the rough ER, fusing with the Golgi apparatus and releasing its product inside. And then the product is modified, sorted, tagged, all kinds of stuff happens to it, but it's changed a little bit. And then it is, you can see here where vesicles pinch off from the end of the opposite side of the Golgi. And now they're transport vesicles, and they can either release their product inside the cell because this product is something needed by that cell, or they can release the product outside the cell by exocytosis through a secretory vesicle. So this is how the Golgi apparatus works. And this just says, depending on its contents, the final transport vesicle, so going here, this would be the final transport vesicle that has pinched off from the Golgi apparatus. If it takes pathway A, it is a secretory vesicle. It contains proteins that need to be secreted outside the cell. So it will fuse with the plasma membrane, and exocytosis will occur, and that will cause the contents of that vesicle to be released outside the membrane. If it's pathway B, vesicles containing lipids or transmembrane proteins, the membrane proteins like channel proteins and carrier proteins and receptor proteins. These will fuse with the plasma membrane or the organelle membrane, and the contents will be directly inserted into that membrane. Pathway C, lysosomes containing digestive enzymes will remain in the cell. So pathway C means that the vesicle is a lysosome because the vesicle contains the digestive enzymes, so it will just become known now as a lysosome. So the Golgi apparatus produces the lysosomes. That's important information to know. This is an image that shows the entire pathway, the events from protein synthesis to distributing the products of the Golgi. So step 1 is the vesicles from the endoplasmic reticulum move to the Golgi, and the vesicles containing proteins pinch off from the rough ER, migrate and fuse with the Golgi apparatus. Proteins are modified inside the Golgi in different ways. And then proteins are distributed. They can be tagged, sorted, packaged, and there are 3 different types of vesicles. We talked about they can be secretory vesicles. They can be vesicles that stay inside the cell and add the products to the plasma membrane or the membrane of some organelle. They can also become lysosomes with digestive enzymes inside of them. And now for peroxisomes. So we've covered the endoplasmic reticulum and its role in producing products, the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus and their role in producing products that either stay in the cell or leave the cell. It's called the endomembrane system. Okay, so peroxisomes are covered with a membrane also, and their main thing is that they can break down fatty acids. There we go. Play a role in the breakdown and synthesis of fatty acids, but they can also they produce hydrogen peroxide as a byproduct. So they contain an enzyme called catalase that breaks down the hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. So they have to have a method of breaking down the peroxide because the hydrogen peroxide is toxic to us. So they do contain catalase that breaks down that hydrogen peroxide. Lysosomes contain digestive enzymes, so they're very similar to peroxisomes, but peroxisomes are more known for breaking down fatty acids. Lysosomes are more known for digesting and breaking down everything else. So they can digest ingested bacteria, viruses, and toxins, like inside of a white blood cell. They can, they can degrade non-functional organelles. When organelles don't work anymore, they have to be broken down. They can break down and release glycogen. They can break down and release calcium ions from bone. And they can release, it says intracellular release in injured. Intracellular release in injured causes cells to digest themselves. So, okay, so sometimes they actually cause autolysis, or the breakdown of this cell that they're inside of. That happens when that cell is non-functional, dysfunctional. Just needs to be broken down. It's a bad cell for some reason. And this is an image of lysosomes inside of a cell. It says the light green areas are regions where materials are being digested. Okay, homeostatic imbalance situation number 3.3. It says lysosomal, and this is describing Tay-Sachs disease, which is a terrible disease in children. Lysosomal, and it's a genetic disease. Lysosomal storage diseases result when one or more lysosomal digestive enzymes are mutated and do not function properly. Tay-Sachs disease is a condition in which the patient lacks a lysosomal enzyme needed to break down glycolipids in brain cells. So these glycolipids, which are lipids that have carbohydrate chains attached, build up in the brain, and the brain becomes kind of fatty, And because it is genetic, we do see this more in the Jewish race. particularly the Jewish race from